Welcome back, you guys. My name is Sarah. I am known as Carnivore Yogi over on Instagram. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel and clicking on today's video. In this video, I am going to talk to you guys about starting the carnivore diet and fasting, which is a highly controversial topic. Before I jump into that, my typical disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, nutritionist, or expert, so take from this what you will. I will, however, link below this video in the information section a couple of experts that I have personally worked with and highly recommend if you need some extra help on your carnivore diet journey. If you have a history of metabolic issues, metabolic disorder, then you probably do want to seek out some help before starting the carnivore diet, or really any diet for that matter. So let's talk about fasting. And the thing is, a lot of people will do really well with fasting, but this is a beginner carnivore diet video. So you're just now starting the carnivore diet. And to be honest with you, the adaptation period, switching over from number one, getting rid of the detox from the carbs, the sugar, all those foods that your body is used to, addicted to, is a very stressful thing for your body. Okay, so that's one. Number two, and that kind of goes along with number one, is switching over to a fat-based metabolism versus a glucose-based metabolism. Also stressful on the body to make that adaptation. And it does take a lot of people anywhere from 6 weeks to 6 months before they are fully fat adapted. So unless you are fully fat adapted, and the way to tell that you're fully fat adapted is that you miss a meal and you don't care, right? And it's not breakfast, because a lot of people have super high cortisol in the morning, and that is why they don't feel like eating, because their cortisol is so high, okay? It's your lunch or your dinner, you're just like, oh, I just wasn't hungry. And some people, again, that can happen within the first 6 weeks, and some people it takes them longer if they have a history of metabolic disorder, metabolic issues, prediabetes, insulin resistance, any of those issues. It could take them longer to become fat adapted, because they are just really having to do this a bit longer to get their body to go into healing mode. Okay, so should you fast right away to get into that fat metabolism faster? I think, and a lot of people that I've talked to, a lot of these experts that have been around for a little bit of time, that it's not necessarily the best idea to start fasting right away, because fasting, while it can be extremely beneficial and helpful for cell repair and gut repair and all of those things, is a stressor on your body. And if you try to do too much too soon, you will see those hormone levels decline. And weight loss, which I know a lot of you guys, the video tomorrow, day 5, finally she's going to talk about it, is all about weight loss on the carnivore diet, okay? So if you're coming here for weight loss, what's more important is getting those hormones regulated and stabilized. When you switch to a high-fat diet, your hormones are made out of fat. When you switch over to that high-fat diet, you're going to experience a change in your hormones, most likely for the positive, for a good thing, as long as you are eating enough fat. So the last thing we want to do is start having a positive change with our hormones and then tank them, because your body's not fat adapted and it's not ready to start fasting yet. There are some doctors who say fasting will get your body into fat burning mode faster, and perhaps that is true for some people. But if you come into the carnivore diet with hormones, you know, your sex hormones in particular, and those thyroid hormones that are already downregulated, which is again why I recommend getting a full thyroid, sex hormone, metabolic panel before you start the diet. I did a video about this the other day, which I'll link below. It is part of this beginner carnivore diet series. Knowing that stuff going in, that fasting for some people can cause more of a downregulation to that system. Now, make sure you're subscribed. I am going to be doing an interview with Dr. Mindy Pelz, who really does a great job of talking about fasting for women this month. But one of the things that she says is that you should not do fasting if you're coming from a place of mineral deficiency. Okay, so that's where you'd probably want to get a hair mineral test to see where you're at with your minerals, or nutritional deficiencies, right? Or hormonal deficiencies. those are people who need to get those things in order first, aka give this some time, get fat adapted 6 weeks to 6 months, and then consider adding in some fasting. And then even then, it may not be for you. You may have a very stressful life. You may have a lot of chronic stressors. You may have a lot of trauma trapped in your nervous system. And when you begin to fast, it's just too much for the body's hormonal system to handle and to regulate. So is fasting helpful and helps repair cells and can help lower blood sugar, get the A1C to go down? For certain people, absolutely yes. But you have to know where you stand before you start doing it, and you have to be patient with your body to allow yourself to get fat adapted to truly be in ketosis. And you can also test your blood sugar and your ketones. That's a really helpful way. I will put a link to the Keto Mojo below this video, which is the model that I use, not sponsored at all. It will be an Amazon link, but it's not sponsored in any way. But I test my blood sugar and my ketones fasted first thing in the morning. Ideally, you want your blood sugar to be in that 70s, low 80s range for ketotic blood glucose, okay? And those ketones between a 1.5 and a 3.0. If your ketones are higher than a 3.0, it just simply means you're just newly in ketosis and you're likely not using all of those ketones, okay? So those are just some considerations for you to make when you're thinking about doing some fasting to, again, further your healing. This is what this is about. I think that if people, and I'm going to do, again, the weight loss video is coming tomorrow, so make sure you're subscribed to get that. But if you want to lose weight, fasting is, again, probably not going to be ideal, and people are going to argue with me on this and say, Sarah, fasting is great if you want to lose weight. We also need to talk about eating disorder history. If you have a history of binge eating disorder, of any eating disorder, I'm not going to get too specific because the YouTube bots will flag me. But if you have a history of eating disorder, you could be fat adapted, you could have all those, this was my experience, you could have all that stuff rolling for you, and what it will end up doing to you is putting your body into fight flight because you have unresolved trauma, you have this eating disorder history, and either it will cause you to binge after you fast or eat more than your body needs, right? So maybe you stick to a carnivore diet after you do a little bit of fasting, but you still eat more calories or energy than your body needs, so you don't end up losing any weight, and you may end up gaining weight because fasting, I don't care what anybody says, it does downregulate your metabolism. Have you ever fasted before? I know some of you experienced carnivores are watching this and you get really, really, really cold. Why is that? Because your thyroid has slowed your body down, because your metabolism has slowed your body down, and it's no longer a priority to keep your body warm. You are now trying to be kept alive by your body. That is why you are so cold when you're fasting. What's number of top thyroid issue symptom is going to be being cold. And this is not a complete list, but it's something to think about. So you may fast and then you may eat just a little bit too much when you come off of that refeed. This is what happened to me. And you may either not lose any weight or gain all the weight back that you just lost doing your fast, or you've downregulated your metabolism. And this is, it can be permanent for some people. It can be temporary for some people. It depends on your metabolic history, okay? But you end up eating, your body is very smart. It wants to keep you alive. So you eat more than you need, or just enough so that you either don't lose weight, you gain all the weight back, or you even gain a little bit of weight because your body is like, oh, they're going to do this to me again. They're going to put me back into fasting mode again, so I better feast while I'm here, okay? So am I totally against fasting for everybody? Absolutely not. You'll want to stay tuned for the interview I have with Dr. Mindy Pelz coming up. But I'm just saying, you need to know where your hormones are, where your minerals are before you do it. You need to make sure you're fat adapted. And if you're just starting the carnivore diet, I think it's probably not the best idea for you to get your blood sugar regulated, get yourself fat adapted. And again, people will disagree with me, and that's okay. I'm not a nutritionist, doctor, expert. I'm just talking to you guys about what I have seen over the last 2 years, as well as what I have experienced on my carnivore diet journey. So I hope that this was helpful, guys. Stay tuned for the video tomorrow about weight loss and starting the carnivore diet. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.